Inflate your BOSU Balance Trainer to a firm density following the detailed manufacturer's instructions that are in your owner's manual. To avoid overinflating, measure to make sure that the platform rim is not more than 9 to 10 inches from the floor. Overinflation can damage your BOSU Balance Trainer. Place it on a level surface with plenty of space around you so you can step off easily in any direction. Wear athletic shoes to provide good lateral support and protect your feet. Do not perform BOSU workouts with bare feet or in socks only, unless the workout was specifically designed to be performed with bare feet. Keep a towel nearby to wipe perspiration off the dome, because if it becomes slippery, you could lose your balance and fall, resulting in serious injury. Stay hydrated, drinking water as you need throughout the workout. Work out at a level that's right for you and modify any movements that aren't appropriate for your fitness level. Know your limits, or those of your clients, and keep the workout safe. Always progress slowly and sensibly. Realize that some exercises or progressions may not be appropriate for you right away. Throughout the workout, we'll show you modifications that makes the drills easier, as well as variations to make them harder. Be patient and perfect each drill before moving to the more challenging alternatives. If the BOSU Ballast Ball and Soft Fitness Ball are required for a workout, make sure you follow the manufacturer's instructions for proper inflation and use. Have your ballast ball and soft fitness ball nearby and ready to use, but make sure they aren't underfoot when moving around the balance trainer. Check all of your equipment and accessories before each workout to make sure there's no abnormal wear, and keep sharp objects away from both the balance trainer and ballast ball. Do not use the equipment or accessories if they are worn or otherwise not functioning properly, as this could result in serious injury. Remember that the BOSU Balance Trainer is not a toy. Children should not use the balance trainer or any other fitness equipment unless properly supervised by a qualified fitness professional. This DVD program is designed to provide certified fitness professionals with ideas for client programming. It is not meant to be used as a workout, so may not include warm-up or cool-down sections. Choose the exercises and drills that are most appropriate for your professional programming needs and the needs of your clients.
To provide an almost endless number of variations to every BOSU exercise, you can incorporate what we call the BOSU Balance Challenge variables. These are 4 variables that allow you to make every exercise you learn more challenging, less challenging, or just different. The first one is contact points. More contact points generally makes balance exercises easier, and less contact points generally makes balance exercises more difficult. For example, if you're standing on 2 feet on top of the BOSU Balance Trainer, this will be easier than if you're standing on 1 foot. However, if you'd like to practice 1-foot balance, you could add another contact point, such as a body bar, to make it easier to learn and practice the 1-foot balance. In this case, the contact point could even be a shoulder or a wall. Another example would be from a kneeling position. If you were just learning this bird dog exercise, but it's too challenging, you could simply set down the toes on 1 foot. Or occasionally, you could place one hand down for a few seconds and then lift it up again as you learn and improve on this skill in this position. Varying the contact points can greatly impact the ease or difficulty of any balance exercise. The second balance challenge variable is movement. The amount of movement or range of motion in a drill can impact how easy or difficult it is to do. For example, a small standing squat on top of the BOSU is generally easier to do than a larger, deeper squat. You can manipulate the depth of the squat to accommodate a variety of fitness levels. Another example would be if you were traveling across the BOSU back and forth. The larger the movement, the easier it will actually be because you will be spending less time on the top of the unstable surface of the BOSU. But if you slow it down and pause on top of the BOSU for a split second as you're traveling across, you will make the exercise more difficult because there is now more time being spent on the unstable surface of the BOSU. The third balance challenge variable is visual effect. Visual effect is 2 things: visibility and focal point. Both have a great impact on how easy or difficult a balance exercise may be. Here's an example of how visibility can impact an exercise. Let's say you're performing a lunge on 1 foot on top of the BOSU. If you close your eyes for the entire exercise, or you simply close your eyes for a portion of the exercise and then open your eyes, you're gonna make this simple lunge much more challenging as your body attempts to react to the missing visual information you're used to seeing when you lunge. And here is an example of how your focal point can impact an exercise. If you were simply standing on top of the BOSU in a braced position, and you move your hands overhead or behind your body while you track your fingers with your eyes, you'll find this easy position suddenly becomes very challenging. The final balance challenge variable is external stimulus. This is simply when you're forced to react to an outside stimulus that you're not in control of while you're performing a balance training exercise. For example, as a trainer, you could gently push your client while they're performing a drill, and they will be forced to react to the spontaneous stimulus that is unexpected and impossible to prepare for. Or you could simply toss and catch a ball with your client as they perform an exercise, and they will have the added challenge of attempting to catch the ball. You need to use common sense when incorporating external stimulus, because of course, you never want to create a scenario that would be unsafe or too challenging for your client or student. The best part is that you can use these balance challenge variables in combination with each other for even more variety and challenge. You could eliminate a contact point and add bigger movement to a drill, and that might make it more challenging. Or you could take away an external stimulus and add visual effect to vary another exercise. The options are endless. The more you practice and teach these BOSU Balance Challenge variables, the more variety you'll be able to provide, and the better skilled you will become at offering progressions and regressions for all your students and clients.
Hi, I'm Lawrence Biscontini, and I'd like to welcome you to BOSU Mobility and Stability for Active Aging. The purpose of this interactive DVD is to give you some skills, drills, and games for the active aging exerciser, but also the gentle exerciser as well. The format of this DVD will be interactive, and I want to give you a plethora of skills and drills, more importantly than actually balancing what we're going to do on one side. So I draw your attention to the fact that you might use the stop or the pause buttons to do anything that's bilateral, what we have to do on the second side, appropriate number of repetitions for your classes or clients. For content, this is not therefore a workout, but it's an interactive workshop experience, a teacher training DVD. In terms of equipment, you are going to use the BOSU Balance Trainer, the BOSU Soft Fitness Ball, and perhaps a yoga mat that you can do two things with. Fold in half to provide some gentle cushioning for joints, but more importantly, provide a surface on the floor that won't slip. We're going to improve overall functional strength, decrease your client's fear of falling, improve gait management, and most importantly, help improve the overall quality of your client's life through improving ADLs, or activities of daily life, to make every client a COL. What's that? A champion of living. Through manipulating the parts of age we can control and actually train, like psychological aid, motivational age, as well as social age. With most exercise sequences, I'll show you progressions and regressions using our BOSU Balance Challenge variables. You have a tutorial of these variables on the main menu, so you want to check that out. In addition, please check out the safety guidelines on the main menu before attempting this workout program. Demonstrating the exercise drills, skills, and games with me is a colleague, a client, but most importantly, is a friend, Bernadette O'Brien. I call her Super Betty. At over 80 years young, she's going to be demonstrating exercises as appropriate for this market, so keep an eye on how she reacts and responds to all the skills, drills, and games. Let's get started and let's move. Bernadette, my friend, we're going to start the workout by establishing three sort of ground rules. The first is, where is home? Home is going to be, if you look at the BOSU Balance Trainer, behind the BOSU Balance Trainer, and let's think of this as a whole clock. What time are you actually standing near?
6 o'clock.
Absolutely. So 6 o'clock is going to be what we're going to call your playground space of home. Home in your playground. Okay?
Yes.
The second thing I want you to think about, my friend, is that we're going to start to warm up with hands and legs, and we're going to be moving in a way all oriented around the BOSU Balance Trainer. I'd like to tell you the last four numbers of my phone number, as that's going to be part of our social and cognitive age games that we're going to play through the whole workout. I hope you promise not to post this on any social media outlooks, but the last four numbers are 5683. What are they?
5683.
What are the last two numbers?
8-3.
How could you say those last two numbers backwards?
3-8.
And could you possibly say the last four numbers of my phone backwards?
3865.
Sounds good to me, better than I could. I'm gonna go to my playground and stand at home, which is 6 o'clock behind. Go ahead and take one more step behind your BOSU Balance Trainer so there's a little space between you and the BOSU Balance Trainer, and we're gonna start to warm up the way we move for active daily life. Triplanar, first in the sagittal plane, and then side to side frontal, and then adding some twisting. Let's start with the hands forward, and we're gonna place the heels forward. We're gonna call this tapping the heels. Wonderful. The reason we're doing dorsiflexion first is because we want to get right into the anterior tibialis. Those are the muscles down the front of your lower leg. I want you to think about adding the arms to this, Bernadette. When it's comfortable for you, we're just gonna tap down. So you're still on your playground, you're still at 6 o'clock. What are the last four numbers of my phone number?
5683.
You got it, my friend. That's why I call you Super Betty. Let's do four more right here. 4, 3, and take the hands away and just keep the legs going. When you're ready, try tapping. So the toes go down, actually push the top of your shoes forward, getting into all the muscles in the back of the lower leg now. Gastrocnemius and soleus. Thank you, my friend. When you're ready, bring the arms back in. So we're actually working not only cognitive age, but we're getting into the whole idea of biological age because we're combining some cardiovascular, some coordination, and working on self-efficacy, making you feel more comfortable and confident as we go from comfortable to complex. Let's do four more. 3, 2, let's take the hands away and march in place a little bit. Watch what I do, Bernadette. I stop and then I start taking my heels out to the side. So frontal plane movement, always look down as you need to. That makes you comfortable. And then watch me. Hands still come back to the hips. Hands are going front to back in the sagittal plane, and your hands are now doing something different from the legs. After this, instead of stopping the arms and the legs, let's just change to toe taps. So toe taps, the knees still go out to the side, and this is focusing on a hip opening movement, yes? Side to side. Let's do a few more of these as we're going side to side, so it's our frontal plane, heels and toes. Now let's go to a marching. So you can just march with arms and legs going front to back. Keep that going on, Bernadette, with the arms and legs doing opposite things. Are you getting a little bit warmer?
Yes, I am.
So you're still staying in your playground and you're about 6 o'clock, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay, could you please, looking down and looking anywhere around the clock that we've established, march to 7 o'clock? Beautiful. What about 8 o'clock? 9 o'clock? How about 10 o'clock? 11 o'clock? 12 o'clock? That's in the front of the BOSU Balance Trainer. And notice how she looks around to be aware of where she is in space and time. Beautiful, Bernadette. How about 1 o'clock? Everything is relative to the home space. 2 o'clock? And 3 o'clock. And how about 4? 5? And back to 6 o'clock. Let's play a little game while we're still working on your heart working out, my friend. Let's go to 8 o'clock. 2 o'clock. How about 7:30? Oh. 11 o'clock? 5 o'clock. Oh, coming around this way, beautiful. There's no right or wrong, it's how you get there, absolutely. What about 6 o'clock? 12 o'clock? Notice that in our warm-up for this population, we always want to make it about up to 25% of our whole class time, so it's a very extended long warm-up. 6 o'clock, my friend. And you're back to join me. Beautiful work with the feet. Now I'm gonna join you here and let's take your hands front and back as they are, but take the legs out, out, and in. So we're actually going back now. Our gait changed from sagittal front to back to side movement, working outer and inner thigh, working on balance and stability. Notice how the arms are still going front to back and up and down, but the legs are going up. So it's a bipolar almost, right? Walk and march. Beautiful work front to back. And I'm gonna join you on that, Bernadette. So we're going out and out and in, and we did our clocks. Now let's take your hands out to side and move the whole body, sort of like hula dancing. Arms and legs, wonderful. Shoulders are moving and hips are moving. Now I'm going to give you a raw egg on this shoulder and a raw egg on this shoulder. So I'd like you to try to just move the hips side to side, focusing on Quadratus lumborum warming up so that you're focusing on the key lateral flexor of the spine that connects the ribs to the hips. Notice the stability here, my friends. Notice the mobility of Bernadette's hips. That's our program name, right? BOSU Mobility and Stability for the active aging exerciser, achieving our purpose right in the warm-up. So we have that movement going on. Are you feeling anything going on?
Yes, I am. Right in my core and in my hips.
Absolutely. So now, Bernadette, let's go back to the march, out and in. Those are called hip rocks, and those are going to come back later as we use the BOSU Balance Trainer to challenge the efficacy of using the hip rocks both in a standing position and a seated/sideline position. So you're going to remember that for me, aren't you? All right, let's stop the hands and the legs, and now we're gonna try something that we call the rocking horse. I'm gonna invite you to put your right foot on the top center part of the BOSU Balance Trainer. Take your hands forward and up, and then go to the back foot. Look at the back foot and make sure that the back toes are pointing towards the BOSU Balance Trainer. Adjust yourself as you need to, and then we're gonna hinge forward and up, and then as we go back, bring the front toe up. So you're gonna rock forward and back. That's why we call it the rocking horse. Tell me about how you feel with this movement here.
I feel like I'm going under a fence or up an elevator.
That's a great metaphor. Instead of going up and down on a diagonal like an escalator, Bernadette's cue is really kinesthetic. Think of going up and down, more sagittal plane, or vertical as if you are in an elevator, warming up the front of the anterior tibialis for the first time in our workout now, experiencing the BOSU Balance Trainer, how it's inflated, how labile or unstable that it is, and the back foot really trying to turn in the direction of the front foot. Take a pause, Bernadette, bring your feet together, and let's switch that. Just for this in our warm-up, let's try that on the other side. Not everything we'll do today will be completely bilateral. Front up and back up. Notice how she could be going under a fence, bending both knees and coming back higher. Connecting through the core and the pelvic floor engaged at all times. So important cues for this population. So you're contracting all the deep internal core muscles, right, Bernadette?
Yes, I am.
And the navel squeezing in?
Yes, I am.
I know you want to do this another 7 minutes. I'm going to ask you one more thing. While you're doing this biomechanical challenge, could you please tell me the last 4 numbers of my phone number?
5683.
There she goes, Super Betty. Let's do 2 more of these, my friends. Front up and down, and bring your feet together. Let's go back to marching, and we're gonna have 2 extra drills here with the marching. Bring the feet together, bring the hands together, and now let's make a movement pattern that's like an infinity sign or a number 8 that actually lays on its side. Now this works biological and social age because we're changing planes and we're working different kind of movement patterns. Lower body in one plane and the upper body in another plane as well. Let's separate the feet a little bit and stop the arms, and let's play with the fingers. Open and close, we'll call this flash, so we're sort of flashing our energy and extending those digits. Now let's bring our fist palms down and let's just play with the fingers for the finger digit warm up. Thumbs up and down a few times. Then let's do the first fingers up and down a few times. Let's continue that finger with the next finger. So it's the first pointing finger and index, wonderful. Now let's quiet that and do just the little ring finger, super challenging. Just the ring finger, can you? Just the finger almost next to, just the last one right there, yes. Right there. That's challenging. So the only one you want to come up is that one. And now the last finger, up and down. The little finger up and down. And let's go back to the thumbs up and pause the thumbs up. Keep marching. Last 4 numbers of my phone number, please.
5683.
Wonderful. Now watch the thumb that's going to move up and down. This is called visual tracking because you're tracking with your eyes and ears the moving manicure. Now let's go to the index fingers. Watch me, follow me. We're going to go down by your right hip and come back up. Notice for those of you watching, I am cueing to Bernadette's sides, left and right, not mirror image or doing the opposite of you watching. Let's do the little fingers up now. Let's track the right finger up and over behind you, full 360 and back to the center. Very important to do visual tracking drills before we'll ever do something similar using our labile or unstable BOSU Balance Trainer. Let's now take the 3 middle fingers, so not the thumb or the little finger. Let's take the right hand and take it down, up and around behind us to center, and try the same thing with the other. Left goes down, up and around, and bring the hands together, and let's do a flashing movement, pushing and pulling for all those fingers and digits together. Now that's the visual tracking warm-up. We're moving on now to our finger, wrist, and shoulder. We've done our fingers. Let's make some movement of the wrist in each direction, out and in. And could we pause the legs now and do some ankle rotations in each direction? Then bring it in so you're warming up the hip and knee, but specifically paying attention to opening up all the proprioceptors and warming them up of the lower complex, the ankles. So we have the finger, the wrist. Now let's add shoulder and back strokes. Some shoulder shrugs and let it go. Inhale up, exhale. Inhale up and let it go. Inhale up. And one more time, I don't know, and let it go. Let's go swimming. Where do you like to swim, Bernadette?
In Puerto Rico.
You do?
Yes,
awesome.
I do.
Let's swim with the right hand behind you. Take it around. And the same with the left. Anywhere else you like to swim, Bernadette?
In Mykonos.
Oh, you like those Greek islands. Let's do both arms together, opening up the chest 2 times here. Now let's start with the left. Turn away from me. Backstroke with the left. We're doing backstrokes because not only does it open up the stability and mobility of the upper body, but it also helps open up the shoulders and upper body, because this population often comes into our classes, not Bernadette of course, with a flexed spine or actually kyphotic. We want to make sure that people stay nice and open. Let's do one more time. Open the right. Open the left backstroke, and 2 more times. Bilateral backstroke. Feel that chest open as you inhale and bring it to the side. We're gonna warm up the spine now. Are you ready for that, Bernadette?
Yes.
Hands come to the legs. We're gonna do 4 movements. The first is a nice slow hinge. The second movement is rounding the spine like a cat. Third movement is coming to a nice tall spine, and the fourth movement is to come up. I'll cue you as we try that a few more times. Let's hinge down, round the spine like a cat, look at your belly button, unround the spine, and then hinge back up to standing neutral. Beautiful work, Bernadette. Let's do that one more time. Standing, lateral flexion, one more forward, come back neutral, and lift back up. So you have sagittal plane spinal warm up, lateral flexion, as I said, is next. Let's take your left hand up, right hand is on your right hip, and move to the right. Make sure you're touching your body and avoiding rotation. So you're looking straight up or forward. And as we go over to the left side, right hand comes up, your knees are flexed, drawing that navel in, core muscles, and of course your breathing. Let's do one more time as we do our rhythmic limbering, not really concentrating on static stretching, but moving as we're warming up in the frontal plane. Can we do a few more, a little bit faster with a little rhythm to make it active flexibility? While you're doing this, part of our talk test now and memory recall, could you tell me the last 4 numbers of my phone number?
5683.
What about backwards, Bernadette?
3865.
Better than I could do. Let's open the legs wider than the BOSU Balance Trainer. Standing behind your BOSU Balance Trainer, take your hands out to the side as we do our third plane or transversus plane. The left heel comes up, rotate towards me, and come center. Now the right heel pops up and turn away from me. Transverse plane, drawing that navel in, rotate over the shoulder as you're looking at the traffic coming on behind you, and then looking over the other shoulder to look at the traffic coming on behind you. You still drive, don't you, Bernadette?
Yes, I do.
And she has a convertible to boot. Over to one side and center. Could we do that rhythmically a little bit faster? Raising the heel, and 3 more, and 2 more, and last one, best one, hands come down, and you finish this warm-up out, marching out. As I explain something called the gait game. While you're marching, you're gonna take space a little bit behind you in the BOSU Balance Trainer. Keep marching, Bernadette, please. You can use your arms, absolutely. We want a whole systemic, whole total core body warm-up. In a moment, we're gonna play something that's our theme throughout the whole program, and this is one of our games. It's called the gait game, G-A-I-T, working on and improving overall balance and stability. When I say gait game, you walk a full circle around your BOSU Balance Trainer. Any direction, that's up to you. And then you come back to home and find another BOSU Balance Trainer somewhere else in the room. This is going to be your other one today. Walk a full 360 around it and come back to 6 o'clock at home in your playground. You don't have to worry about anything else except sometimes looking down, sometimes looking forward, and you've got your march. You can go faster, you can go slower. The only thing you can't do is stop. Are we ready?
Yes.
Let's finish up the warm-up by introducing Gait Game. Notice how sometimes she looks down and sometimes she looks forward, and she's coordinating movement of muscles and cardiovascular work. She's keeping those high knees because she wants to work hard, and she comes back to her home playground at 6 o'clock. Are you feeling overall warm?
I am. I'm very warm.
Now, do you feel a little bit ready to start our whole BOSU Balance Challenge variables using a whole variety of different body positions?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so what are the last 4 numbers of my phone number?
5683.
That, my friends, is the end of our warm-up. Having increased whole core temperature, prepared all the nomenclature or terminology that's coming up now in our BOSU Mobility and Stability for Active Aging, and getting the spine completely ready for all of these positions and variables. So now that we're warm, we're going to get into the body of our experience, Bernadette, and we're going to try what I call knee raises. So pop one knee and the other knee, and you can stay stable on the floor while you're doing this, and this is the regression of the exercise. If you want to progress it, try to bring one knee up and then lower it down, toe, ball, heel, and this is working unilateral squat standing efficacy of joint manipulation and also balance, progressions and regressions. Now we're going to add a word to this, and we're going to call it stork. So when I say stork, try to keep your leg up for a few seconds and come down. Beautiful work, Bernadette. Pelvic floor engagement, breathing as we lower down. Check out that stork. She's able to stay there for a long time, but in purposes of giving you more movement, I'm going to keep going. So this is called knee raises or stork, whether you completely make it a long unilateral stance or a short unilateral stance. Now we're going to do it one last time on the right and left and add the BOSU Balance Trainer. Once again, my friends, we always start stay-bile first on the floor before we go lay-bile second on the BOSU Balance Trainer. Let's put the right foot on top, and the purpose is 2 now, Bernadette. I want you to push the foot down into the BOSU Balance Trainer, making ankle circles to warm up the ankle and the foot, and also the knee and hip complex. Wonderful. Try to keep the toes down on the surface so you're actually the whole foot integrated into the BOSU Balance Trainer. Change direction each time, perhaps after each circle. While you're looking at the circles, notice that there are circles on top of the BOSU Balance Trainer, aren't there?
Yes, there are.
Do you know how many there are?
8.
That's going to come into play when we play a game in a moment. Wonderful. Let's bring that foot down and try the same thing to warm up the other foot. So the left goes on top, a little higher, perfect, and we're going to make some ankle rotations. This works on not only ankle, as I said, but knee and hip, not only warming this area up, but the second purpose is noticing to what degree is your BOSU Balance Trainer inflated. That's super important because every BOSU Balance Trainer may have a slight difference in its actual amount of inflation, and you want to get to know how inflated is your BOSU for this workout, because you're going to be doing a lot of different things with that BOSU Balance Trainer in a moment. So you've warmed up the ankle in each direction, moving side to side. The progression in time would be to put your hands into your pockets, or imagine you have pockets, just to pretend. And then make the same kind of circles there. It's a little more challenging, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Why is that harder, Bernadette?
Because I'm not as free with my arms to the side to balance me.
Right, okay, thank you. Bring your hands out to the side and bring your feet back side to side. Now after that, we're gonna play another game. Remember the gait game where we walked around your BOSU Balance Trainer and someone else's?
Yes.
This is the second game of the whole program, and it's called the sleeping dog game. So you look at your BOSU Balance Trainer, you're gonna come up right behind it, and as a sleeping dog that would bite you and tear off your leg if you were to wake it up. You cannot wake it up, you wanna keep it asleep. How do you keep it asleep? You have to pet it. I want you to stroke all over that sleeping dog with the same leg, the right foot. If once in a while you want to tap down and get your balance and put it back on top, feel free. Keep petting that dog. Big, long strokes all over the BOSU Balance Trainer, but you can't push down, because what happens if you push down?
He'll bark.
That's right, and wake up. So you want to make sure that you keep the sleeping dog sleeping. Let's finish that and try it with the left foot, noticing, if you will, my friends watching, and Bernadette, if she turns on her kinesthetic sense of feeling, any difference between one side and the other. I don't really like to refer to sides as the good side or the bad side because I think bad is sort of an ethical word. Instead of discovering just how the body is, I like to say the side that needs more love and attention and training, and the side that you feel maybe more stable. So you're playing that sleeping dog all over, and then bring your feet together. Once again, you might need more time to balance one side or the other side, or play longer the sleeping dog game. We're gonna play another game. Now it's not a dog anymore. It's bubble wrap. What do you use bubble wrap for, Bernadette?
To wrap things.
Wonderful, and maybe send them for the holidays, right?
Correct.
What are the last 4 numbers of my phone number?
5683.
Beautiful. So you have bubble wrap in front of you. I want you to push down with the right foot and the left foot all over the BOSU Balance Trainer. Lots of bubble wrap. I like the sound that bubble wrap makes, and I want you to make sounds as you push down all over with the sounds with the breath. And exhale. Listen to that. Core activation, full body engagement, 82 years young as of today's date shooting this. And guess what? You're making BOSU Balance Trainer challenges in the front, changing the visual affect, changing the core stability, changing your center of gravity. I could have her try it in time, putting her hands in her pockets. Not today. It's okay. So that bubble wrap. Tell me, Bernadette, how does that feel overall pushing into the BOSU Balance Trainer?
I'm working my core as I'm doing this.
Right. And if I asked you to do this on the floor, would you enjoy it as much?
No, because it would be so much closer to the floor.
Right.
This gives me the chance to be able to do it without being all the way down.
Right. And how does it feel on your joints?
Easy, very good. They have no low impact.
Right. And it's softer so that instead of going down on the floor, you feel that you still have to react, but it's sort of like the floor comes up to you with the bubble wrap game, right?
Exactly.
Now, do you remember the rocking horse game we did in the warm-up?
Yes.
Let's put the right foot on the top, center, and look at the left foot. And you all have to stop and look at the left foot sometimes. Take your hands out to the side, Bernadette, like this, and then go front and up. And this time when we come back, let's take the front foot off of the BOSU Balance Trainer. Unlike in the warm-up where we kept the front foot on, working on that important anterior tibialis for gait and strengthening, you want to take that foot off. Is that harder now?
Much harder.
Why is that harder, Bernadette?
Because I'm doing a labile surface and a firm surface.
Wonderful, right, splitting. The left foot is stable and the right foot is unstable. And Bernadette, if I ever call you unstable, I mean that in the nicest possible way, okay? Could you bring your feet together and play the elevator game? Left foot forward on top, right foot is in the back. Before we ever move, set up the stability. Look at that right foot. I know it's hard to turn it in, but that's so important for gait management and improvement. You really want to look at the right toes, angle them in a little bit harder, wonderful, and then down under the fence and up and back down. This time you want to try to take that left foot off, noticing any differences between the right side and the left side. Notice how her head is up, but she looks down and she looks forward because she wants to be aware of where she is in space and time at all times. So this is the rocking horse game, playing the elevator, but completely pulling the front foot off each time. How about one more time, Bernadette? And stop that feet together and let's just shake that out. You feel a little bit warmer now?
I do.
Do you see how the warm-up exercises progress into using the BOSU Balance Trainer in another plane?
Yes, I do.
Let's take the hands down. We're gonna play the second of our gait games. And remember the gait game, when I say gait game, you're gonna walk around your BOSU Balance Trainer and another BOSU Balance Trainer in the room. For today's purposes, the second BOSU Balance Trainer will always be mine, but if you were in a big room with lots of your other peers and colleagues, you'd be trying to choose a different BOSU Balance Trainer in every subsequent gait game, okay?
Yes.
Today, this will always be your second one. We're gonna add an element, and that element is called heel. When I say freeze, you're gonna raise one heel. And if I say you can have short-term memory and remember which heel came up, the next time you do heel or freeze, you raise another. Let's practice in place. So I say gait game, and you're walking until you heel here, freeze. And gait game, freeze. Notice how she remembered and changed. That's wonderful bilateral. So are you ready to use the whole space and time?
Yes.
Gait game. So she's walking a full circle around one BOSU Balance Trainer, and then she's gonna go around another BOSU Balance Trainer and continue that pattern while I throw out words at her, like freeze, gait game, freeze, gait game, freeze, gait game, freeze, gait game, and freeze. and back home. Wonderful. Last 4 numbers of my phone number?
5683.
Wonderful. So that's the gate game with the freeze using the heel reaction. That will grow in time. We're going to move on to another game, and it's called the touch reaction. And I want you to think of these words, Bernadette. Come closer to your BOSU Balance Trainer. The words are top, rim, and a reference of a specific circle. How many circles are there, you told me?
8.
So you have 1 at the very top, and 8 is closest to the rim. Let's do a practice. Right foot top. Left foot top. Right foot rim. Left foot rim. Right toes, third circle. Left heel, third circle. I'm going to continue that with you, coming a little bit closer to you to cue it. It's a reactionary game, and you want to keep your body moving, minimizing the number or amount of seconds that you spend on top of or next to the BOSU Balance Trainer. It's sort of as if it's hot, you touch it and come back, and that metaphor of being hot will lead on to another game. Are we ready?
Yes.
All right. Right toes top. Left toes top. Left heel top. Right heel top. Left toes rim. Right toes rim. Beautiful work. Right heel rim. Left heel rim. Right toes third circle. Left heel sixth circle. Left heel first circle. Right toes eighth circle. Left toes fourth circle. Left heel top. Left heel top. Left heel top. Right heel top, and march it out. Awesome work, congratulations. So that's reactionary and makes someone get involved in the touch reaction game. We're gonna move on now to 2 important moves of everyday life, squatting and hinging. How are they efficient, but also how are they effective and how are they different? We're gonna start with our feet hip distance apart behind the BOSU Balance Trainer, checking out that BOSU Pro label in front of you. Shoulders are back and down, hands on the shoulders, right here, hands come down to the hips. Let's hinge and keep the chest looking forward and up and come back down, breathing as you need to. Try that a few more times, Bernadette. Connecting through the core, from the pelvic core all the way up to the navel, squeezing in. Notice how she's looking forward and up. In fact, in a squat, if I were to go in front of you and hold up my fingers in the down position, how many fingers do I have?
2.
I ask her in the down position how many fingers I have up, and if my client can tell me, she's probably in a squat and not in the subsequent position. We'll learn together the hinge. How can I make that a little more easy for the client who has difficulty getting up and down? Bernadette, can I ask you to march around your BOSU Balance Trainer to the front? What time is that if we're going up to the front?
12.
Absolutely. What I'd like you to do is very carefully, knowing that I'm here, look behind you and place your heels onto the BOSU Balance Trainer just above the rim. Wonderful. So the higher they go, the challenging it is to get there, but the easier it's going to be to squat. Take your hands to the legs and try that same squat down and up again. Notice how it's easier for her to get lower and the chest to stay higher because she gets some additional ankle mobility. Wonderful. A few more. And maybe one with the hands forward to show a progression as you could actually hinge down and reach for something and stop. Carefully walk forward so your feet are on the floor, and let's walk to 6 o'clock, my friend. What are the last 4 numbers of my phone number backwards?
3865.
Oh, I love it. Take a pause and learn it. So that's squatting. What we're gonna do now is add a squat with a reach. Take the hands forward, sort of like a television show from the last century. We're gonna squat down here and exhale as you push up. And if that feels comfortable for you, and I know it does for her, take one arm, reach forward, and come back center. Let's squat down and feeling that in the lower leg muscles. And push forward. Try it with the other arm now, reaching forward now. Bernadette, reaching forward. Could we try both arms?
Yes.
Absolutely. Let's reach forward, take the hands down, take forward, cross and come up. Come a little closer to the BOSU Balance Trainer because this time, my friend, we're going to touch it. So we squat down, reach the hands forward. Let the shoulders move towards extension. Exhale forward into flexion, bring them crossed, and we stand back up. Let's do that one more time, my friends. We're gonna hinge down. Reach forward, touch the top of the BOSU Balance Trainer. Come back down to that squat position. Working hard, good. Bring your arms back in front and stand up. One more time, excellent, great. Can we show it without me cueing at all? Hinging down, reaching forward. That's why we call her Super Betty. What is that whole movement called? Is that a squat?
It certainly is.
Absolutely. What's the second movement called? Do you know?
A hinge.
Absolutely. How is that different? You're gonna take your hands at the hips, same kind of hand position, but in this time, instead of looking at the ceiling, you're gonna look at the very top center of the BOSU dome, which some call the apex. Hinge forward, look at the top, and then come back tall. Try that a few more times, keeping the knees slightly bent, and look down at the surface as you come back up. So imagine that there's a grapefruit. Come back up for me, Bernadette. Try it a few times. Thank you. Wonderful. Keep going. Imagine there's a grapefruit between the chin and the chest, and as you go down and up, you keep that grapefruit right there. Unlike the squat, where you're trying to see how many fingers I hold up, what are you looking at each time now?
The center of the BOSU.
Absolutely, and you come back up. I'd like to demonstrate to our friends watching how aligned your spine is in this position. Check out that neutrality of the 7 cervical, 12 thoracic, and 5 lumbar vertebrae. One more time, my friend, all the way up, and then we're gonna go down one time. I could have breakfast on her back. Notice that I could put blueberries on the neck. I could put a glass of soy milk on the middle back, and on the lower back, fill it with some cereal, and nothing is falling off. One more time up. Remember how we reached in the squat, Bernadette?
Yes.
We're gonna reach in the hinge. So let's take the hands forward. As we were in the hinge, now we're looking down. We're gonna reach the hands down to the BOSU Balance Trainer surface. Come back center, engaging the core so your spine is still on, and then reverse that hinge as we come up. Let's try it without me doing it with you. You're gonna hinge forward. Notice the difference of the hinge. Hands to the BOSU Balance Trainer, back crossed arm, and lift up. And one more time as we did in the squat without me cueing it. All you, Bernadette. Here we go. Check out how she's breathing, the integrity of the knee and the hip complex, and back to reverse that. So that's the squatting and hinging, and how are they different? So important. There are 2 kinds of squatting. There's hinging and reaching, and then there's going forward and back, keeping the spine in extension. We're gonna play another game. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, it's called the hot and cold game. The BOSU Balance Trainer is cold, so let's put the right foot on the top. That's called right foot on the top. And when the BOSU Balance Trainer is cold, you can have your foot on it. But I have secretly been able to connect 1,000 volts to the BOSU Balance Trainer. So when I say the word hot, not yet, but when I say hot, you cannot touch it, because what would happen?
I'd get burned.
You would. So what you need to do is take your foot off the BOSU Balance Trainer anytime I say it's hot, but when it's cold, you can come back on. I know you like it to be hot for a long period of time, but I'll start by showing you shorter is better. Shorter meaning shorter amount of time. So cold. Beautiful. Cold. Cold. Hot, cold. Hot. Cold. Hot, cold, hot. Cold. Hot. Cold. 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 Hot, cold. Hot. Cold. Hot, cold, hot. Cold. Bring your feet together, march it out. That was beautiful work, Bernadette. So reactive, makes you think, and you have to work at the same time, right?
Yes, I did.
And balancing one foot on a stable surface and touching, subsequently, an unstable surface. Should we do the other leg?
Yes.
Absolutely, but on another place and another time. I'm gonna move on and give you another whole exercise to do, but my friends watching, we'll do stop or pause and try all of that, of course, the hot-cold game on the other side. We're going to learn heel presses. What time are you facing on the BOSU Balance Trainer, Bernadette?
6 o'clock.
Okay, so what I want you to do is pushing the heel forward, make some alternating bubble wrap-like presses into 6 o'clock. Put your hands forward, put your whole body into it. Breathe. Notice how the one leg is facing forward and is stable, and the other foot is pushing onto an unstable surface. Now we're really pressing with the heel, working on anterior tibialis dorsiflexion. So important in this population, because if you were gonna trip or fall, that's the part of the foot that has to react to pull the toes up so we don't trip or stumble or fall down on a shaggy rug, for example. So that's called heel presses into 6 o'clock. Does that feel okay for your joints?
Yes, it does.
Okay, different from having to do it on the floor, correct?
Yes.
Now from the heel presses, we're gonna move on to the catch yourself game. Stop for a moment, Bernadette, and tell me, what's the #1 fear of you and all your population?
That will fall.
Right, so what are we gonna do? we're gonna face the fear of falling. And if I have you face the fear of falling in a controlled, safe, but labile environment, functional because life is unstable and the BOSU Balance Trainer is unstable, it's gonna help carry us into everyday life. So I want you to, using your hands low but forward, start to let your body lean, and at the last possible moment, catch yourself with that opposite leg anterior dorsiflex foot. In other words, start to go forward, and at 6 o'clock, you catch yourself and come back. I'm gonna stand right here because I'm personal trainer looking after you, and I wanna watch how you do it. So you start to go, and she catches herself and pushes back. And if you can, change legs then. Sometimes tell yourself, I'm gonna try to catch myself with the opposite leg. Notice how she really does let herself go before she reaches that foot. A little bit scary, but if we can't have our clients face that fear, we're not really training them in a functional environment, right? If you wanna face the fear of falling and they have that fear, I say run to the roar. What better than the BOSU Balance Trainer? If I had you try this on the floor, Bernadette, try to let yourself fall on the floor and catch yourself, what would you tell me?
I tell you no.
Why? Why do you try to do it on this?
Because the height helps me to be able to do it, and the flexibility of the BOSU.
So it's not as far that you feel that you would fall if you were to go fall, but still your leg has to stabilize, right?
Correct.
Because it's unstable. So that's the catch yourself game, trying to go forward and at the last possible moment, catch yourself. We're gonna move on now, hands down, march in place for a little bit, shake it all out. We're gonna move on to a whole other game, and it's a whole long series of games called the clock games. Where are you standing at, Bernadette?
I'm standing at 6 o'clock.
Wonderful. We're gonna start stabile before we go unstable or labile. So I want you to just take your feet and step with either foot on the floor only to 6 o'clock and return. And let's try with the other foot, 6 o'clock. Wonderful. And everything we're doing on the floor now, you could do before you ever progress to the unstable BOSU Balance Trainer. Let me try you some other times, okay? 5 o'clock. 7. 4. 8. 3. Beautiful work. 9. 9. 3. 7. 7. 3. 5. 4. 6. Good. And 6. And 9. Wonderful. What are the last 4 numbers of my phone number?
5683.
Could you touch them out?
Yes.
5. And then? And then?
8. And then 3.
Beautiful. What would they be backwards, Bernadette?
3, 8, 6, and 5.
Beautiful. Well done. That was the first of our clock games on the floor. We're going to move to progress it to using the BOSU Balance Trainer. Go come a little bit closer, and let's just try right and left foot. 6, 6. Just like that. Are we ready?
Yes.
Hands out. It's a little more unstable. 5, 7, 4, 8, 3, 9, 7, 7, 3, 5, 4, 6, 9. What are the last 4 numbers of my phone number forward in normal order?
5683.
Could you say them and touch them, please?
5, 6, 8, 3.
Super Betty. What would they be backwards touching the BOSU Balance Trainer from home in your playground?
3, 8, 6, 5.
I don't know if your clients laugh and really show joy in their faces before every game and exercise, but you've just gotta love it, right? So that was the second of our clock games, touching the BOSU Balance Trainer. The third is, my friend, could you walk around to 12 o'clock and stay on the floor? Now I want you to notice how Bernadette looks over her right shoulder and her left shoulder to know where she is in relationship to her BOSU Balance Trainer. I'd like you to put a couple inches between you and the BOSU Balance Trainer, and you're there. That's wonderful. If you look directly behind you over either shoulder, Bernadette, where would you be looking? What number is right behind you?
Well, if I look left, I'll see 11, 10, 9, 8, and 7.
Wonderful. And over your right shoulder?
I'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Wonderful. I'm going to call out some numbers. You choose the leg that's closer to that number or more comfortable for you. Tap it and come back on the floor only. reaction from a front approach, and I invite you to look over your shoulders as you move in and out of those positions. Are we ready?
Yes.
Clock game in reverse, starting at 12. 12. 12. Maybe the other foot, 12. Wonderful. 1. 11. 2. 10. Beautiful work. Looking, putting the feet. How about 3? And 9. And march in place. Wonderful work. So that's the clock game in reverse. We stayed on the floor, making your clients react to where they are in space and time over their shoulders.
Yes.
Is that challenging?
Yes, it was.
Why is that hard?
Because it's hard when you're on my age to look backwards and do work.
Right, and so when we have people encourage rotation of the cervical spine and the whole chest, do we want to have them do it fast or slowly?
Whichever way they can.
Right, but most of the time it's going to be what speed?
Slow.
Right, absolutely. So let's stop the feet and move on to our next exercise. Come a little bit closer to the BOSU Balance Trainer and watch me, Bernadette. This is our setup. Left heel is going to, in a moment, watch me first, touch the rim of the BOSU Balance Trainer. If you need for hands and balance, you could hold a bar or a chair or me or a wall. And your right foot is going to be your labile, your unstable leg is going to come up and just touch the top of the BOSU Balance Trainer. Your hands are going to be out to the side and just get your stability in that position. So, wonderful. Left heel is close to the rim. Can you bring that left heel a little bit closer back, touching the rim, and the right foot up and touches it. Wonderful. Now we want to do the setup position, which is to take the pedicure of your right foot behind the dome level. Wonderful. And we're now hands out to the side. I'm here if you need me, my friend. I won't let anything happen to you, so feel safe and secure. Pelvic floor, shoulders engage, activate your core, engage your pelvic floor. This posture is going to improve your life some more. What are we going to do? Work the anterior tibialis. How are we going to do that? I want you to think of bubble wrap, but one big bubble of the BOSU Balance Trainer. Dig the toes into the BOSU Balance Trainer and release and come back. A very subtle movement, but I'd like you to vocalize for us, Bernadette. Those of us watching, how and where are you feeling this?
In the anterior tibialis.
Right down here at the front of the leg. Once again, so important for this population to train for reaction and unstable. And the whole setup of this exercise is a movement progression skill in itself, very functional, and the whole moving through the exercise is so challenging. You can see in the whole nature of the way she's on one leg from the pelvic floor all the way to the shoulders. Would you like to bring your feet together
Yes,
on the
I
floor?
would.
Okay, now we're gonna do that on the other side after you hit stop or pause. We're gonna move on. And I'd like you to turn around, give us your back, face the BOSU Balance Trainer, and walk back home doing the bubble wrap game with opposite feet. So press and press, walking all the way back to 6 o'clock. You can put the hands up if you need to. Notice that she doesn't, but I cue that always to show the regression. Client's regression can do this on the floor. Wonderful. And let's go past home all the way around back to 12 o'clock. This is the moving bubble wrap game to transition from one unilateral anterior tibialis strengthening in the sagittal plane to the other. Wonderful. Bernadette, in a moment, I'd have you face our friends, try the other leg, but we're not going to. I just want you to take the bubble wrap game back home. So face the BOSU Balance Trainer and walk this way back home. Alternating bubble wrap walking game going back home from not only the front going to the back in the walking. Wonderful, and we stop there. Let's march in place and shake all that out. Was that challenging?
Yes, it was.
3 types of clocks. Clocks from the forward facing onto the floor, clock forward facing onto the BOSU Balance Trainer, and backwards moving transverse plane clocks where you have to see, look first, and place your feet.
Yes.
Wonderful. And then strengthening for the anterior tibialis. Another muscle group really important for your population is not just anterior tibialis of the legs, but what is it between the ribs and the hips? Do you know how to pronounce that muscle we've talked about sometimes?
Quadratus lumborum.
Better Latin speaker than I am. Wonderful. And it's really an important lateral flexor of the body. So what I'm going to invite you to do is come to this side of the BOSU Balance Trainer. Stay there for a moment and watch me demonstrate the exercise. I'm gonna come to this side of my BOSU Balance Trainer, and I'm gonna show you lots of exercises using the BOSU Balance Trainer that we've never really used in any of our BOSU programming until now for this population to strengthen and challenge the anterior tibialis that you just mentioned, but most importantly, Quadratus lumborum that you just mentioned, those Latin names. What we're gonna do in a moment is place the left foot onto about the third ring, somewhere between the top and the rim. And we're gonna take our hands to the side. And do you remember the hip movements we learned in the warm-up where the shoulders were stability and the hips were mobility? We're gonna do depression of the hip closer to the BOSU Balance Trainer. So it's as if you want to push the air out of the BOSU Balance Trainer. The hip goes down and come back up. Pay really attention to this hip. It's almost a Latin-inspired merengue movement where the hip pushes down and let the air bring your foot back to natural. Push down, come back neutral. Push down, come back neutral. Notice the stability of the shoulders. What do I have balanced on each shoulder?
An egg.
Right, correct. Are you ready? I'm gonna step behind you, a little to the side. Left foot right there, hands out to the side, shoulders down and back. What are the last 4 numbers of my phone number?
5683.
Beautiful. Pelvic floor engaged, chest is out, hands out to the side. Go ahead and push that hip down and come back neutral. Push down and back neutral. Notice how she's pushing the air out of the BOSU Balance Trainer, coming back up. Push it down and up. Push down, push the foot into the BOSU Balance Trainer, push the foot into the BOSU Balance Trainer, come back up. How about 2 more, Bernadette? Last one, and bring your feet to the floor, back onto a stable surface. The next exercise is called the side squat series. We're gonna put our foot in the same position, about the 3rd circle, and then hinge down into the little squat position, come back stable. Check it out. Hands go forward and step off. When we step on, we're gonna call that step on. And when we step off, we're gonna call that
Step off.
absolutely. Let's try it. Left foot on and off. Hinge down and come back neutral. Wonderful. So you're hinging down, chest stays lifted, big squat series, and back down. Now that's really challenging, and it's much more challenging than she makes it look, because you're going from stable to unstable, as we did in our warm-up, but it's not sagittal plane anymore, it's frontal plane. And this is really efficient because you're having her do it repeatedly. So it is cardiovascular and strength, and we're working on psychological age here because we're also training the whole different systems of the body through coordination. Is that harder than just doing this on the floor?
Yes, it is.
Can you feel movement under the left ankle even though
Yes,
it feels
I
stable?
do.
Okay, let's do one more of those, my friend. And feet come to the floor. Now the second movement for Quadratus lumborum strengthening is opposite the first, and I'll demonstrate. Whereas in the first, you were pushing the air out of the BOSU Balance Trainer and the hip goes down. Now when I do this movement with my mouth, I'm inflating air into the BOSU Balance Trainer. If I made your BOSU Balance Trainer inflate, what would happen? The hip would come up. That's not called depression, that's called
Elevation.
absolutely. Elevate and down. And down. So when I blow forward, the hip comes up and comes back down, maintaining our theme of the whole program, stability of the whole shoulder girdle. Ready? Now the hip goes up. Awesome. I blow it out. Good. I blow it out. So it's opposite Quadratus lumborum strengthening. You get the resistance of the BOSU Balance Trainer, you get the breathing in the core, you get the unstable surface, but now you're doing the complete opposite movement as you did first. Hip depression, lateral flexion, frontal plane. Now you have hip elevation, depression elevation in the frontal plane, unstable surface. Now, my friend, the last movement is you're gonna come back to your friends unstable, shake it all out. Remember when we went forward, what was this whole drill called? What game is that called?
Bubble.
That's right, when you push on the bubble wrap, and when you're gonna let yourself start to fall, it's called catch yourself. We're gonna catch ourselves now, not here in the sagittal plane, because who knows, we would always predict being able to fall this way. Sometimes we could fall side to side, true? So check me out. My right foot is not gonna move. It is cemented into the floor. It's stable. I start to let myself go. It's very scary. I face that fear of falling, and at the last possible moment, step out, catch myself, and push myself up. I let myself go, catch myself, and push myself up. I'm gonna walk close to you, Bernadette, because I want you to feel stable and strong with me here. And I want you to step a little bit more forward, so you're just to the right of that BOSU Balance Trainer. Your right foot is stable, your left foot is gonna step on, let yourself go, start to hinge, and catch yourself. There you see stability and reaction. Start to go on the left side and catch yourself. Let yourself go, catch yourself. Wonderful. Do you see how you're getting more of the hang of it? Bring your feet. Awesome. How about a few more? Let yourself go, you're going to fall, and you're gonna catch yourself. You're not gonna stumble, you're not gonna fall, you're not gonna let that statistic be one of you, because you are gonna face that fear of falling. Let's do 2 more, my friend. Fall over to the side and back, over to the side and back, and stop. Let's come back to 6 o'clock. That was beautiful. Is that scary?
Yes, it is.
Why is that scary?
because you think you're going to fall.
Right, but you have to react. If I had you try it just on the floor, how would that compare?
Well, it helps to have the height of the BOSU to be able to practice that.
And how is it also scary? Because it's not stable, is it?
And it's not stable.
What prepared you for that? When I have you do the side squats, do you remember that?
Yes.
We called step on, step off. That prepares you for making a little more reactionary. So shake it out and walk it out. My friends will pause and try all of that series on the other side. The side depression of the hip, the step on, step off, the side elevation of the hip, and the let yourself go, catch yourself in the frontal plane where the other leg goes on. We're moving on. We're gonna do some backstrokes. Do you remember that? I like to put backstrokes in between the exercises and sides because we focused on the lower body for so long. Sometimes it's nice to focus on the upper body. Left arm first, turn away from me, and breathe, and right. Imagine you're swimming, Bernadette. Where are we swimming?
Mykonos.
Okay, you love it every time you can get in the Greek islands. Right arm, nice and slow. Feel that chest stretch actively. And now together, both arms. Both arms together, right here, up and down. And now we're going to play the game, the gate game. The first time we did gate game, walk around, come back. The second time we did gate game, I did freeze and you raised a heel. Now gate game, because I know you can, you're not gonna raise a heel, you're gonna play stork. So the words you'll hear are gate, stork, gate, stork, gate, hands out to the side, stork, and gate. Are you ready?
Yes.
Your BOSU Balance Trainer and a different BOSU Balance Trainer. For today, it's mine. Are we ready?
Yes.
Gate, stork, gate, stork, gate. She's so good. Stork, gate, stork, gate, stork, gate. Keep going, you can do a whole circle. Stork, gate. Didn't touch me yet. Stork, gate, stork. March in place at home, 6 o'clock. Listen to the same exercise we're gonna continue, except when I say the word partner, grab a partner. And because of what's coming up, I suggest you look around the room when you choose another BOSU Balance Trainer and choose somebody very, very strong because your life is gonna be in that partner's hands in a few moments. Are we ready? The words are gate, stork, and then partner. Gate.
I want to pick you.
You can pick me, but I didn't say partner yet. Gate. Stork. Gate. Stork. Gate. Stork. Partner.
Now I'm going to pick you.
Absolutely. What, you sure?
Yes.
Okay, I'll be your partner. I'm gonna invite you to come to my BOSU Balance Trainer.
Oh.
Yes, I know, you get to use mine. So what we're gonna do is stand here, and I'd like you to come that time, which would actually be 9 o'clock, and face me, so all my friends watching will be able to see what we're gonna do from the side, instead of giving anybody our back. And what we're gonna do is practice some really fun games. And the first thing we're gonna do is called up for a bit, down for a bit. And let me demonstrate. I'll go first because I'm the teacher. So this is what you're gonna do. Feet are hip distance apart, you're standing behind, noticing where you are in space and time. Hands can be up here, pelvic floor, shoulders back, activate the core. With last 4 numbers of my phone number?
5683.
Check it out. Up for a bit, down for a bit. You're there because you are my wall and you're my stability if I need you. I decide how long I want to go up, and I decide when I'm ready to come back and be stable. Up for a bit, down for a bit. It's not your time yet, honey. Up for a bit. Down for a bit. I love my eager beaver clients. Now, are you ready to demonstrate?
I hope when you're BOSU.
Here we go. Up for a bit. Wonderful. You continue that at your own pace. Check out what happens when she comes up. Check out the difference between the ankles. Check out if she wants to lean forward. Check out where her visual affect goes between forward, up, and down. Check out how long she stays stable versus how long she chooses to stay labile or unstable. She's pretty trained and she's pretty fit, so she'll spend up here longer time than your clients may wish to, and your clients may look at with a lot more trepidation in their face than my friend Bernadette. So now that you're up here and you go to the floor, we would go to the floor and stop, and we would pause and let you switch drills and switch positions. One of you be the stabilizing partner, one of you be the mobilizing partner. We're not going to now because we're going to give you the next exercise. The next exercise I'll demonstrate is same, except, as the Asians say, same, but different. I'm going to cue the time. So instead of you deciding how long you want to come up and how long you want to go down, I'm in charge now, and I'm also going to choose the lead. I'm going to choose the lead. For example, right up, right down, left up, left down. And I will play with that reaction as I think is appropriate for my specific client or my specific class. Are we ready?
I hope so.
Absolutely. Fake it till you make it. Self-confidence. Are we ready?
Yes.
Absolutely. Now, you first heard that, right? I hope so. And that's the same trepidation that your clients may have when it's actually the first time in this whole program where they're going to be up on the BOSU Balance Trainer for longer than a second. And it's so important to understand that everything in our extended warm-up and everything up until this point has prepared your clients for this moment. But for this population, I'm actually going to put your clients with a stabilizing partner on the floor or a wall, because sometimes you get stuck with a dud. So you want to find the best possible safe scenario for your classes and clients. So I will cue the leg, and I will cue if it's up or down. You're down, so the first cue I will use will be up. March in place, please. Upright. Down right. Up left. Down left. Up left. Down left. Up left. Down left. Up left. Down right. Up right. Look at that smile. Down right. I know you want to keep going. Up left. Down left. And shake it out. Is that challenging?
Yes, it is.
How is that more challenging than letting you decide, coming up and down, how long you wanted to take?
Because I didn't know how long I'd have to be up there, for starters.
Right.
And I had to think which leg was going to go back down well before I could do it on my own.
Part of psychological, my friends, training, part of psychological age, my friends, training is making it very reactive. And to make it a reactive training, we're really building and maintaining that neuroplasticity, so important for our clients. Now, the second partner drill, part of this program, BOSU Mobility and Stability for active aging, is where we don't start from the floor, but we start from the top of the BOSU Balance Trainer, and it's similar to up for a bit, down for a bit. You decide. All you have to tell yourself is the word tap, and it goes like this. You're gonna stand right there on the floor and be stable for me because you're my partner. You are the S of stability in our program, and I am the M of mobility of our program. What happened to your arms? There we go, thank you. I might need you, so you've gotta be statue. You've gotta flex your knees a little bit. Be a strong and stable partner for me, wonderful. I wanna see that I've got stability, because for the second partner, it's just as much work as it is for me going up in the trepidatious up and down movement. Here we go, I'm gonna come up, and I'm gonna start from the up position, and all I have to remember is what word? Tap. So I tell myself, tap. I tell myself, tap. So unlike the first movement, front to back sagittal, this is frontal, tap. When I tap, it's like stomping out a bug. Stomp and come back, but we're not gonna use the words kill a bug because it's not so nice and positive for this population. I like to use the word stomp or even tap. You can tap down with the ball of your foot. Some of your clients will actually the first times do this. It's okay, because we're in a partner. Are you ready to try that, Bernadette? You'll come up here, and what's your T word? Tap. Wonderful. When you're ready, you start marching on top, and you control which sides and when you tap. Beautiful. Keep trying to tap to the sides, noticing I'm here. She hasn't touched me yet, but that's okay. Bernadette, you are well trained. So what are the last four numbers of my phone number?
5683.
What would they be backwards, honey?
6538.
I trust her. Sounds good to me. How many pounds have you lost in the last year?
45 pounds.
How cool is that? 45 pounds of muscle or fat?
Fat.
Do you want to do this for another half an hour?
No.
Okay, let's do one more. Come back on, my friend. March, tap, tap. Other side. And touch me. And now exit behind you. Wonderful. So that is the frontal plane up and down. I'm sure everyone watching is giving you a round of applause because I am in my heart. Now we're going to take this and give it a second layer, just like we gave the sagittal plane a second layer, which was I gave the cues and I gave you the lead leg. Are you ready? The same, but different. How do we do it? You'll start from the top and the cue will be this. Tap right, tap left, and so on and so forth. Make sense?
Yes.
Are we ready?
Yes.
So confident. So we're gonna start on top. I'm here for you. In my stability posture, I'm a statue. Tap right. Tap right.
No.
Whoa.
I'm sorry.
Tap right. You never have to apologize because in life, tap right. You can't apologize. You just have to fix it. Tap left. Tap right. I'm here. Tap right. Tap right. Tap left. 25 more. Tap right. Tap left. Tap left. Tap left. Awesome. Touch me and exit behind you and shake it out. Is that more challenging? Listen to our huffing and
certainly
puffing.
is.
Cardiovascular working biological age as well whenever we add that cardiovascular component. Why is that harder? Because you're reacting to what?
Reacting to the tapping and the flexibility of the labialness of the BOSU Balance Trainer.
And I have to tell you which leg. Is that harder than you deciding on your own?
Most definitely.
Right, and when you practice, sometimes you get used to doing it right and doing it on the left. Yet in life, sometimes we rotate more times to one side or we have to be practiced more to our side that needs more love, perhaps than the other side. So you're shaking that all out, right?
Yes.
Those are called the tap downs, and then I want you to give a high five with your right hands to your partner and a high five with your left hand to your partner and coordinate a double high five simultaneous. Awesome. Little bow and go back home to your own playground. Wonderful. Notice how she looks and walks, sometimes backwards, sometimes over the shoulder, getting people aware of space and time in their room. So important when you're managing equipment and BOSU Balance Trainers and the active aging adult. So now we're going to move on to the next section, and it's one of my favorite for BOSU mobility and stability for this population. There are 4 amazing ways to use the BOSU Balance Trainer to help not only my clients address the fear of falling, but also this population, Bernadette, doesn't like doing what kind of a movement?
Getting down to the floor.
And then their fear is that
They won't get up.
that's right. So we have them, again, run to the roar. If we have our clients get to the floor and get up using the BOSU Balance Trainer, these is 4 new ways to use the BOSU in a way that we haven't really before. We're gonna combine the squat and the hinge using our reaching to a kneeling position. Are you ready?
Yes.
I'll be with you. We're at 6 o'clock, behind, feet are hip distance apart, so they're not really together. We take the hands to the quadriceps, just to the thighs, and we do a little squat position. Then we do the hinge position, and we reach hands first, and then the knees go right there. Toes stay on the floor, lift up, and you're in a kneeling position. Are you now on the floor?
Yes.
How easy was that, right?
Extremely easy.
And you tell your clients, we're gonna go to the floor. What's the first thing they do? Some of your land clients who are 60, 70, and 80.
They say they can't do it.
That's right, they're afraid, or they say, oh, I wanna do the chair exercise, right? But now you can bounce. How do your knees feel?
Good.
All right, we're gonna stand up, the number 2 fear, right? Can't get down, can't get back up, in reverse order. So we hinge forward, you're touching the BOSU Balance Trainer, and then take the knees off, walk the hands back, reverse the hinge. You're now in a squat, and then we stand up. Let's try that one more time to summarize. Down to a squat, hinge forward, hands, knees, and you're on the floor. You could go all the way to the floor now, couldn't you?
Yes.
Let's stand. How? Knees first, then the hands to the thighs, hinge to a squat, to a standing position. High five. That's number 1 use of the BOSU Balance Trainer, getting down and getting up. We're gonna look at the second way to use the BOSU Balance Trainer, totally appropriate for Bernadette, who's prepared, who's strong, and she's familiar with the inflation of her BOSU Balance Trainer. Can I invite you to walk to 12 o'clock, please? Wonderful. Now I'm gonna come over near to you because I don't need to demonstrate this one for you. I'm gonna invite you to take your hands forward, look over your left shoulder, notice how far you are from the BOSU Balance Trainer. Look over your right shoulder, notice how far you are from the BOSU Balance Trainer. And the second way to use the BOSU Balance Trainer to help your clients get down to the floor is just squat and sit. So you're gonna squat down and down you go. You can take your hands to your knees. How does that feel, Bernadette, now?
Very nice.
Was that easy or is that scary?
Very easy, very easy.
How are we gonna get up? There are two options to get up from this position. The first way, because I know it's appropriate for her, is the way you went down. Can you add a little bouncing as you did on your knees? How does that feel?
Very good.
Could you do this on the floor?
No,
No, but does it feel playful?
it feels playful and it feels flexible and it's got a nice momentum.
You like that, don't you?
Yes.
Take your hands forward, add a little momentum, at keyword, as you hinge forward and see if you could stand up. So you're using that squat to a standing position. Bernadette showing you how to use the squatting position to go down to the floor and getting back up. The third of our 4 positions is a kneeling position. I'm gonna invite you to walk around the BOSU Balance Trainer until you get to 6. The first way was hinge, squat, reach, and knees. The second way was a squat. The third way is to look at how high the BOSU Balance Trainer surface is up from the floor. Take the hands forward. Bernadette has no hip and knee issues. You look down, you bend the knees, and there you are on the floor. How is that, Bernadette?
Nice, feels comfortable.
The very first time you did it, how did it feel?
Not so good. It was hard to do.
Right, because it seems like going to the floor is a little bit scary. However, having the BOSU Balance Trainer higher,
Makes it easier.
could you do a little bouncing in this position? One way to get up, we showed you, was to put the hands on the floor, raise the knees, and stand up. I'm gonna come over and stand by Bernadette and show you a really fun, interactive, energetic way to have our clients learn how to use the BOSU Balance Trainer to go from floor to standing, never even having to use the hands. Check this out. Bernadette bounced and she stood up. That was so great, Bernadette. I know you want to demonstrate it one more time. Can I have you go down, show the knees, show how the toes are on the floor, adding the bouncing, pelvic floor engagement, last 4 numbers of my phone number backwards.
3865.
Is that right?
5863.
That's forward.
5683. 5683 3865.
Sounds good to me. Notice how it gets harder the more you do it. Just like training a bicep. By the last couple of repetitions, you feel that fatigue set in. Mental training, functional age, self-efficacy, from comfort to complex. All right, show us one more time how you can use that bouncing to standing. How beautiful was that? Use my hand back here for stability in case we needed it, but I did not need to touch her. That's the third way of using the BOSU Balance Trainer for actually having our clients learn how to stand up and get to the floor. I promised you 4 ways. Number 4, we're gonna hold off for another sequence coming up soon. It's your little teaser. We're gonna move on to a kneeling sequence, and we don't wanna put this client population for a long period of time on the knees, correct?
Correct.
You have no knee, hip, and ankle issues. So for purposes of giving information, we're gonna do all our kneeling work together now. But what would you do with your classes and clients? You would separate this out. 1 week, maybe one side, or a Monday one side, a Wednesday the next side, on a Friday put it together. But overall, not spending a long period of time on the knees. Let's stand behind the BOSU Balance Trainer, and I'm gonna invite you to kneel on the BOSU Balance Trainer in a position that way you like to get down, easy for her. And let's try the first position. It's called 70-30. The left knee is gonna come all the way to the center, and the right knee comes off to the side, so the right knee and shin are still touching the BOSU Balance Trainer surface. Hand can be out to the side, and the backs of your toes can actually touch the floor. If you need to shift yourself, Bernadette, so you can actually have the toes on the floor, that's a regression. That gives you more contact points, part of our balance BOSU variables, and so you wanna have your hands out to the side. Why do we call this 70-30? Because the left knee it's stabilizing has about 70% of your body weight, and the non-stabilizing side, the side that's going to move, is only about 30% in contact with the BOSU Balance Trainer. Hands out to the side, we're gonna raise the right knee and lower the right knee, tapping the right knee to the side of the BOSU Balance Trainer. Bernadette's showing you the complicated progression way. Notice how I keep my toes on the floor, emphasizing hip opening and closing. Bernadette, can I ask you to take your right foot out to the right and tap down with the toes, and then just keep kissing or tapping the right knee to the surface of the BOSU Balance Trainer. Here's the regression. This is what most clients will feel more comfortable with starting, but do you still feel this in the
Yes, I do.
stabilizing left hip?
Yes, I do.
Now would you show us the progression? Bring the leg in and then try to lift and lower, and maybe you can do it moving the upper body only as much as to need to for balance. Check that out. She taps down each side, but she lifts up and she lowers without taking the toes on the floor. Unilateral unsupported work on the BOSU Balance Trainer. For my clients, I'd have them now stand up so your hands would go to the floor, you would push back and stand, rub the knees, and do the other side. However, we're not going to. This is the time where we'll come up 50-50, move your knees on either side of the BOSU logo, come up neutral, toes on the floor, Bernadette, and we're going to move on. You will have, however, done all the 70-30 kneeling work on the other side. Moving on to tracking in our 50-50 position, because you have equal weight distribution on both shins, hands forward, let's try flash in the fingers and relax the fingers. Flash in the fingers and relax the fingers. Now let's take the hands palms up and take the right hand to the right, following it palm up and come center. Left hand palm up. Now we're doing this because transverse plane, while your ankles, knees, and hips are in the sagittal plane, is part of life. When you're seating and balancing and driving and standing and lifting and twisting, reaching for something in your kitchen or car or in your garden, you have the lower body having to stabilize and the upper body having to mobilize. Progression, Bernadette. Let's take the toes off of the floor. Trying to stabilize here. Do you feel any movement occur?
Yes.
Where do you feel it?
In the BOSU and my knees.
Absolutely. The right hand comes to the right and center. So that movement, Bernadette, is your body stabilizing. You're actually working harder now, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Because your core muscles have to turn on, working on functional age as well as biological age. Over to the left side, center. Now, could you show me your thumbs? Right thumb comes up and down. This is super hard because I'm not requesting that you touch the floor. Do you remember the backstroke, hands down? Right arm makes a shoulder backstroke, left makes a shoulder backstroke, and we put it together 2 times, lifting and back, and all the visual tracking we did in the warm-up with the different fingers going to one side, going to the other side, transverse plane, and circumducting the shoulders, all could work. Let's take the hands out to the side, bring them to the center space, open up, and hands float down like a bird. That's a pre-foreshadowing of something we'll finish with called fly like a bird. To our last kneeling 50-50 exercise, repeating again that with your clients, you wouldn't keep them on their knees this amount of time. We're giving them another exercise, right, Bernadette? And it's called the kneeling, bowing hinges. Very functional because we want to work the lower body to stabilize on an unstable surface. Take the hands forward, take the index finger, that's the longest finger, hinging forward with your spine tall. Try to touch. Good, and then lift up. You could use the middle finger or the index finger and lifting up. Good, hinging with an extended spine. Touch any circle and come up. Let's try this now. Looking down, Bernadette, could you touch circle number 4? And come up. Could you do it again? Touch circle number 5. Notice how Bernadette's toes are not on the floor. Most of your clients will want to keep their toes on the floor. Hinge again, circle number 6 with a different finger, perhaps the little finger, circle number 6. And back up, and all the way this time to the rim. Notice how she catches herself, so functionally efficient and efficacious, all the way down to the rim, all fingers, and up. Notice how she's bowing, spine neutral, 7 cervical, 12 thoracic, 5 lumbar vertebrae, all in a line. Let's take the hands forward now, one more time to the rim, and then come up to circle number 8, and 7, and 6, and 5, and 4, and 3, and 2, and 1, kneeling up, shoulders come back and down. The last thing we're gonna do in this kneeling position is the bubble wrap game for the upper body. When you move the shoulders and the shoulder blades, that's called the scapulothoracic rhythm. What? Bubble wrap for the palms. Hinge forward and move your right knee and left knee behind. Toes can be on the floor. Now, Bernadette, push your palms down. The whole upper body pushes into the BOSU Balance Trainer. And what are we playing?
Bubble wrap.
Absolutely. I want you to burst all the bubbles of your BOSU Balance Trainer surface. In fact, Think of $100 for each of the bubble wrap noises that you would make. Exhale, exhale. Push, you can push next to your knees, in front of your knees, and behind. Now, my friends, trainers, we have quadruped, functional pushing, unilateral and bilateral movements. We're actually combining planes because she's adding rotation, sometimes forward and sagittal, but she's also going to her side in the frontal plane. Super functional, weight bearing. This population needs to be able to hold itself up in this position on an unstable surface. If she were to fall, chances are this is the position she's going to be in. Slowly we walk up, Bernadette, finishing the kneeling bubble wrap game. High five, right hand. That's the kneeling bubble wrap. For this section of our workout experience together, notice that on the floor we have the folded yoga sticky mat and also our soft fitness balls. We told you before that the BOSU Balance Trainer gives this population 4 unique, innovative, and trailblazing ways to help this population go down and up, and we've shown 3, right, Bernadette?
Yes, we have.
We have my favorite, and it's coming up now, and it's the lunge. I'm gonna go to my BOSU Balance Trainer, and I'm gonna invite you to follow me. We stand to the right side of your BOSU Balance Trainer, Bernadette, and we stagger the legs so the right foot is forward and the left foot is back. So you're kind of thinking that there's space between your legs, and that is to the left, the BOSU Balance Trainer. What are we getting ready to do, Bernadette?
A lunge.
Absolutely. You take your hands forward. Look how close the floor is to you. What's going to touch the surface of the BOSU Balance Trainer? The left knee. Absolutely. We put the hands forward, we lunge down, and we're there. How comfortable is that?
Very.
Can you bounce?
Yes.
Just as we do in all other positions. Now, how do we stand up? Get a little momentum.
Yes.
What's your favorite part of this exercise, Bernadette?
Well, I like that the BOSU is blue.
I like that too. And it's so close to the floor, right?
Yes, it is.
So let's come down and get up a few more times. Because Bernadette can do this, I'm gonna invite you to watch how we can add some rotation. Hands to this, diminishing the center of gravity. Come down, rotate to me, Bernadette, come center, and then stand back up. Hands together, turn to me, come back center and up. A few more times on your own. What's important about this is notice that once again, we have a combining of planes of movement, stability, instability, but also now we're getting up and down. For the client who says, I'm not sure I could get to the floor, you don't always need a wall or a chair or an assisted person. All of a sudden, we have her lunging down and up. Let's do it one more time, Bernadette. We're gonna go to our side lying series on the floor. It's a combination side lying seated. We're already down, so watch me. You're gonna take your hands in a minute, Bernadette, to the BOSU Balance Trainer and sit to the right side of the BOSU logo on the top and bring your knees together, hands on the side. We're getting ready in this position to do some of the work that we did standing, which is the hip rocks. Wonderful. So you take your right hand out to the side, left hand is on the BOSU Balance Trainer surface, a little bit closer maybe to 9 o'clock, left hand right, and now we're gonna push the hip into the BOSU Balance Trainer and release it. Hip goes into the BOSU Balance Trainer and release it. Again, doing depression of that hip. Do you remember when we did this standing?
Yes, I do.
Is this harder or is it easier?
This is harder.
Right, because you're on the floor, but you want to really push that air out, right?
Correct.
Push air in and out. Push in. Now let's take both hands to the BOSU Balance Trainer. Move on to the second exercise, which notice my right knee opens and closes. When the right knee opens, we call this hip opening, or for trainers, unilateral short lever abduction and closing it down. Opening it up and closing it in. Because Bernadette is able to do this, I'm gonna invite you to watch the progression, which is to take the right knee, extend it so the leg goes out long, lift, and either touch the floor or pretend to touch the floor, lifting and lowering. Notice how her spine is neutral and extended, hands on the BOSU Balance Trainer, still more challenging than touching the floor because she's on an unstable surface. And then bring that knee back together, Bernadette, as we just do the lifting and lowering. Ankles together, sort of a butterfly preparation for something that's coming up. And at halfway between what we just did and this position is sort of a middle position, which is raise the whole foot, where the heel and the ankle come up too and lower down and lift and lower. So that's halfway between the easy butterfly opening and the long lever abduction. How about 2 more of those? Are you feeling this in the side of your hip?
Yes, I am.
Throughout the whole core body. So that is that hip rock movement. external rotation and abduction. Now for some clients who don't have osteoporosis, who can engage in spinal extension, this is the time to stick that in, and Bernadette can. So I'm gonna go behind Bernadette and show you the next position. Check it out. In a moment, she's gonna put her hands down, come down, legs apart, take one soft touch ball to the forehead and have their hands just like this, Bernadette, on either side. So I'd like you to turn towards the floor. You're already down. I'm gonna reach the soft touch ball. You take that, put that under your forehead, peep the toes on the floor, and put your hands back on the BOSU Balance Trainer. Now for the client who's new to this position, you're already working on extension. Let's make it a little more challenging. Keep your hands glued to the BOSU Balance Trainer. Lift up and lower down with your chest. So come off and lower down. What do you have between your chin and your chest each time, Bernadette?
A grapefruit.
Absolutely, so you keep that connected. Keep making little compression with the chest, with the chin, keeping the core engaged and the pelvic floor, lifting and lowering. To progress this, take one hand to one ear, lift and lower. Just lengthening the whole lever. Lift and lower. Good, keep the toes on the floor. That keeps you anchored to stability and mobility for the active aging. The next progression would be to take both hands to the ears. You might have to shift your weight back on the BOSU Balance Trainer just a little bit because whenever we change our center of gravity, we have to reposition, lift and lower. Because she has great spinal health and core integral stability, and she always begins with great impeccable design integrity, she's able to engage in this spinal extension, lifting and lowering. If she gets tired, as some clients would, where can you put your forehead, Bernadette?
On the BOSU ball.
Absolutely, right there on the fitness ball. It's soft, it's forgiving for the forehead. Take your hands back to the BOSU Balance Trainer. Wonderful, and slowly turn your head side to side, massaging your forehead. Wonderful, side to side. How does that feel?
Nice.
Okay, so you get a little massage there. Slowly push yourself back up and face our friends who are watching us. Back to that side position where you first started this. Now I'll tell you some things that could happen. When she comes out of that spinal extension, she could come out of that spinal extension to seated on the other side and repeat all this on the other side. She could, as she just did, return to sideline and then engage in reversing the lunges to a standing position, come to home, and from home, or 6 o'clock, as she just showed you how she got up with her hands and legs, do the whole sequence from the other side. Stay right there, Bernadette. I'll just review what that would look like. Coming down here, adding the rotation, if appropriate, lunges on the other side. To give you more ideas, we're not going to go into the other side. We're going to go into our next position, which is called sitting. You ready for that, Bernadette?
Yes.
Let's walk around to your mat to 6 o'clock, 2:12, and we're going to take our hands forward and just engage in that sitting position. Wonderful. Now, what do we have to your left side? You have the fitness ball, right?
Correct.
Okay, we're gonna engage that in just a moment. Let's bring your position so that you can actually have the bottoms of your feet touching each other. Shoulders are back and down, and your hands are on your knees. Let's practice this movement, and we're just gonna call it the seated butterfly. Opening and closing the knees, breathing with an extended spine, tall core, strong core. Activating all the core muscles, breathing in and out. Wonderful. So you're trying to think of you're being as tall as you can, and now with the knees open, could you add a little of that bouncing that you enjoy doing, that little playful opening up? Can you feel the knees sort of open and close a little bit as you add that bouncing?
Yes, I can.
Wonderful movement. Now let's reach and get the soft touch ball and practice adding our visual tracking that we've done, standing and kneeling up into this position. Palms are up. Without holding the ball, right hand comes to the right. Without moving the soft fitness ball, left hand goes to the left. Now let's move it under the right hand and follow it with our eyes and, more importantly, our heart, because we never want to do anything without having that combination of heart and breath, which some call spirit, as well as the body, because that helps self-efficacy improve. And center. Now let's take the ball a little bit higher and a little bit lower, flexing the elbows into the core, forward and up, because pushing movements are important as well. If you wanted to progress this, you could actually take the glutes off of center. So instead of sitting in the very front center, sometimes sit a little bit to the left side of the room, a little bit to the right side of the room. Let's do one more, holding that stability ball, that little ball right there. Hold the fitness ball one more time over the left shoulder. Now take it down to the center and back up. Same thing to the left. Over the left shoulder, Left elbow goes down, follow it down, and back to the center. Always palm up, that's really good for the shoulder. Did you feel that work different parts of your core? So now let's push and pull a full times. Just a few more times as we get ready for our next position. Our next position is called the incline position. And that's super important in this population because normally, not only does this client not like to be on the floor, but they don't like to put the head at the same level of the hips and sort of lay where they can't see the instructor. Sometimes they complain what part of their body hurts.
The neck.
Right. I'm going to use my soft fitness ball and use Bernadette's as well. Come over near Bernadette and show you sort of a personal training, integrated action where I can assist her. And this population doesn't always like to be on the floor, does it, Bernadette?
No, they don't.
Especially, what part of the body do you not like?
The neck is what begins to hurt.
Right, so I'm going to invite you to give me your soft touch ball, and I'm going to place this as your neck support to avoid that complaint. So can I ask you to walk yourself down to the floor, sitting on the floor, forward of the rim. Place my soft fitness ball right on the surface and ask you to lay back and support your neck right on that. How does that feel?
Very comfortable.
Are you able to see forward?
Yes, I am.
Are you able to see up?
Yes, I am.
Are you able to see down?
Yes, I am.
So now let's beginning the exercise. We started with our stability, here's the mobility. I'm gonna give you this 4-pound soft fitness ball in your hands. Let's take it in your right hand first so we can all see it. And I want you to try some elbow flexions. Going long and bending that. Breathing, pursed lips, activating the core. Maybe after 2 more, I'll show you, my friends, one more way to make it easy. Could you anchor this elbow right into the BOSU Balance Trainer and try that? That's easier, right?
Yes, it is.
And it's also more forgiving on the elbow because you're not asking an elbow to go, that joint on the hard surface. Now one more, flex, stay flexed, pass it off to your other hand, and now let's try a few in this hand. You can make it long where the elbow doesn't touch anything, or bring that elbow onto the soft BOSU dome surface. Now let's say you've done perhaps 8 on each side. Let's reduce that with repetition reduction to 1 and 1. So let's do 1 flexion, hand it off to the other side, and do 1 full range of motion, flexion and extension, and then stop in the middle and hand it to the other side. So all the way down, all the way up, stop in the middle. Perhaps we will begin with 8 on one side, 8 on one side, then 4, 4, then through repetition reduction, end up reducing it to 1 on each side. In time, I would like my client to be able to not hand off the soft fitness ball, but add a little toss in front of the chest. So 1 full, then a toss, and then a full elbow flexion and extension, and then stop there, hand it to the left, go down all the way to the shoulder, stop in the center, and then toss it. All the way down, slow it down, all the way up, then stop in the center, throw and catch, all the way down, all the way up, and stop in the center. Wonderful, so those are our unilateral elbow flexions. Moving on to, for the latissimus dorsi, important stabilizing muscles to pull the spine back. For this population, really, we have a lot of kyphosis. We want to avoid that. So let's hold the soft fitness ball, flexing the elbows, bring it a little closer to your core, and then take it over and behind the head, all the way to your point of challenging discomfort but not pain, and then bring it over until it lines up with your vision. And go back to the beginning position. So can you feel this in your back muscles?
I do.
And shoulder muscles, but notice how her spine is supported by the ergonomic surface of the soft BOSU Balance Trainer. Her neck is supported. Normally this population would never do this on the flat floor, right? So all of a sudden we have the senior, if you will, or what I call the chronologically enriched participant, able to try this lat pulls in this position. We did our bicep work. We did our overhead pull. The next movement is stop 1 more time and bring the soft touch ball, bring that soft fitness ball right to your chest, hand it off to me, and I would take it or you would put it on the floor. If you want a regression, if you want to make it more challenging, you can place this between your knees. So I'm going to have you place it between your knees to work now the lower body complex, your adductors, squeezing that there, and I'll know that you let the lower body go if your soft fitness ball falls to the floor. We're going to engage now in tricep work. So you keep your hands on the floor, push down into the floor and breathe for me, pursed lips, and release, 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 release. Relax, relax. Ready? Push the floor away from you, push and breathe, connect through the pelvic floor, connect through the core, and release, and breathe. We work biceps, so we're working the triceps. How are we working the triceps? Not isotonically, isometrically. and relax, relax. Try a few more of those while I explain to our friends watching how this is so important, because in a plank position or a quadruped position or in falling, we want these clients to have enough isometric strength stability that they can push themselves up. Working sometimes strength with isotonic, sometimes with an isometric approach. In our program, mobility and stability, isotonic, isometric, respectively, for the active aging exerciser. So you feeling that in the backs of your arms?
Yes, I am.
You ready to get into some abdominals?
Yes.
I'm gonna take your soft touch ball out from behind your neck. No, that one stays there.
Yes.
And you're gonna take your hands to your ears and start to crunch. I want you to bring the ribs in the direction of your hips and lay back on the BOSU Balance Trainer. Exhale again and crunch forward. Notice her range of motion. Notice how the neck, 7 cervical vertebrae follow the thoracic vertebrae. Forward and back, flexing and extending, activating the core all the way through in all these positions and all the range that's safe and effective for your clients. To make it easier, one hand could come across the chest, decreasing the lever length. To make it harder, one arm can reach up behind, increasing the lever length for your clients as appropriate for him or her. Let's go back to both hands at your ears. How about 2 more crunches in that position? One last crunch in this position as we finish this position, which was called the supine incline. Moving on now to the next position called supine bridge. The head needs to be on the top of the BOSU Balance Trainer where it is. This is really important to start for integral stability because we don't want any tension on the neck. The feet are hip distance apart. She's holding the soft touch ball where we left it. We have the soft fitness ball right between the knees. Hands are gonna push on the floor. We've already worked that. We've warmed it up for isometric stability. The name of the exercise is called bilateral leg bridges. So let's push down hands into the floor, push the feet into the floor, exhale through pursed lips, and raise those hips really high and lower down. And continue that a few times, my friend, while I tell my friends watching what we're looking for. We're looking for nice, neutral cervical spine alignment, and we're looking for, can my client get the hips high enough that's appropriate and challenging for her? If she would need to reposition feet or reposition the shoulders, or even take the soft fitness ball away, that's all okay. Bernadette's able to do this. Bilateral leg bridges. Now that's progression number 1. We can add a little more challenge here. Let's try a few more of these with the toes up, working on anterior dorsiflexion. So the toes come off the floor, lifting up into the bridge. Why are we doing toes up first? Anterior tibialis, of course, and she's going down and up and down and up. How about 25 here, Bernadette? I'm glad to hear you laugh and smile. Then we're going to try the opposite. Let's try now heels up. So that's plantar flexion. Try to keep the heels up throughout the exercise. Notice how challenging but possible this is as we're working on not only self-efficacy and fear of falling, but also all the posterior leg muscle complex, right? Why is this helping address fear of falling? I'll tell you in a second. Bernadette, now what I'd like you to do is try combining those. So one toe is up, one heel up. This is mind-body connection. Do a bridge in that position, and then come down and switch. And then the other heel goes down and the other toes come up while you're continuing this. This helps improve gait and also decreases falling over time. Why? You're taking standing balance and shuffling out of it, improving the whole muscular efficiency at a muscular level. When balance is removed, we can concentrate on strengthening the muscles that really have to turn on. By having the soft fitness ball there, the adductors are working. So multiplanar, and now there's not a fear of falling because she's already down, right? How about one more? And down, and take a rest here, but not resting the inner thigh. We want to keep that soft ball there. I know you want it there. We're going to show you the next progression appropriate for Bernadette, but maybe not for everyone. It's called a unilateral bridge. So you choose one knee, squeeze the knees together, and extend that knee so one leg comes off the floor while she lifts up into a bridge, lower down. How about one more, same leg? Breathe, listen to that exhale. Coming down to the floor, and let's switch and try 2 on the other side. This again is improving overall gait efficiency and decreasing propensity to fall, because in a fall you're on one leg. Gait is unilateral, correct? How about a few more regular bridges, keeping that soft fitness ball between? Heels down now and flat, nice flat-footed, decreasing any fear of falling, because with that single leg bridge, you're challenging the whole unilateral stabilization down one side of the leg, the whole longitudinal system of a muscular standpoint. How are you feeling in all these bridges, Bernadette?
Wonderful.
Are you?
Yes.
Is this comfortable for your neck and shoulders?
Absolutely.
And challenging for you to get the glutes and hips off of the floor?
Yes, it is.
Now what I'd like you to do is reach towards the soft touch ball and put it to one side. You're finished with that for now. Something else you could do is just open the legs and let it fall, but then you might stumble on it should you stand. Let's do a chest stretch. Take your hands out to the side. You can just reach this and let it go to the floor. The other goes towards the floor. Why is this such an important thing to do with this population? Because this age often, as I've mentioned, becomes kyphotic. So not only do we want to strengthen the muscles that run down the back, but we want to stretch pectoralis major and all these tight muscles of the shoulder. So now you're getting a little deltoid stretch, anterior deltoid, and pectoralis major. Can you feel that?
Yes, I can.
Because of orthostatic tension and blood pressure changes to come out of this stretch, we don't tell our clients, let's stand now, because you would increase the chances of syncope or fainting. We want to change the blood pressure slowly and keep the neck unsupported for less than a minute. So Bernadette, the first thing we're gonna go do is take the hands to the ears, and now peel ourselves up to a sitting position where you can look forward, stay right there. Take your hands out to the sides and imagine you're a bird and start to fly. We're gonna call this movement from Tai Chi, flying bird, starting to fly. And then you're gonna take the hands forward and paint an imaginary wall in front of you with your fingerprints and then your fingernails. And we're going to call this from Tai Chi, paint the wall. Then I'm gonna invite you to just put those together. Fly like a bird, and then bring your hand forward and paint the wall from frontal to sagittal. You may think we're practicing Tai Chi on the floor, but we're actually reorienting blood pressure before we put this population to a standing position. Let's do one more of that, flying bird, and one more paint the wall. And Bernadette, could you lay on your side facing our friends watching and sort of hug the BOSU Balance Trainer just on your side, right there on the mat. Just shift yourself back and just feel that comfortable position. Does that feel comfortable?
Yes, it does.
Now we've also gone and addressed a couple different ways to stand up, correct?
Yes.
Pick one of your favorite and I'm going to invite you to stand up. So you might face the BOSU Balance Trainer to a kneeling position, push yourself up, or go from kneeling to bouncing, or from the sitting or the lunging. The 4 methods we've given you, let's see which way Bernadette's going to choose. Come to a sitting position, maybe she's going to add some bouncing, and the hands go forward. And when she's ready, she's going to stand. How beautiful. Can I invite you to come to 6 o'clock? The way we began, be careful of your equipment, always aware of looking down and forward in space and time, equipment management, space management. As we finish in the very last section of our whole workout experience together, we're gonna finish in Tai Chi, because we know from research that Tai Chi really improves self-efficacy in this population.
What is self-efficacy?
Great question. I'm going to tell you the answer while we do this movement. Feet are hip distance apart, facing 6 o'clock. Let's lift the hands to the side and lower the hands. The progression would be to raise one heel off the floor as you fly like a bird, or both heels off the floor as you fly like a bird. Self-efficacy is facing your fear of falling, feeling that you are completely independent in all your ADLs or activities of daily life. That's what self-efficacy is. And all the moves that we've come together to put into this interactive DVD for you, your clients and classes, clubs and clinics, help address self-efficacy so that your champions of living really feel independent and know that everything we put together is research-based. The next movement, my friend, is paint the wall as we just prepared. Hands come up as high as the shoulders. One heel could come up, check that out, or go down. And the next time the other heel comes up, active plantar flexion, or both heels come up, not only slowly lifting, but also slowing the deceleration. That helps psychological as well as functional age, something over which we do have control, lifting up the heels and controlling that deceleration. One more time, the next of our Tai Chi movements is called the willow tree. Bernadette, we're gonna take the hands forward and overhead, reach over towards me, touching the side of your body, bending the knees like a willow tree, touch the leg, reach to me, Come back out to the sides and go to the other side, like a weeping willow tree in the wind. Back to me, knees are flexed, you're breathing, not rotating, but looking forward. Hands back to the side, over to the other side, weeping willow tree, hands back out to the side, and lowering down. That was frontal plane. Now let's take the hands forward to finish our Tai Chi multi-triplanar cool-down flexibility stretch. The left hand or right palm turns up. Let's try wise owl gazes backwards. Towards me, the right hand reaches, keeping your eyes on your palm. Come back to center, and then the left side. Nice and slowly, focusing on it, and come back center. Let's do one more time, keeping the knees soft, but not so flexed that you feel that you're very short. And come back center, and pelvic floor, shoulders, and core. What are the last 4 numbers of my phone number, Bernadette?
5683.
Lower down. As we finish the wise owl gazing backwards in the transverse plane, we invigorate the body with some anti-osteopenia or osteoporosis moves. What does that mean? This population needs some positive amount of impact for the bones, but we don't tell everybody, go running, Bernadette, and call me when you get from East Coast to West Coast. We say, try galloping horse. Hands forward, connecting the pelvic floor muscles, drawing the belly button in, and we start to tap the heels onto the floor. Now, I know she's tapping the heels on the floor, connecting through the core to her distal body parts of the wrist, if she's moving the wrist as a consequence of what's happening at the ankles. If I were to see something like this, stiffly moving, then I know that she's not completely connected. Is this cardiovascular?
Yes.
Is this balance?
Yes.
Is this stability?
Yes.
Absolutely. Let's do 3, 2, exhale. Take your hands out to the side, open the chest, bring your hands forward. Let's do that 2 more times. Open up, feel that chest stretch. Center, and we do that 1 more time. Now, in any program where you've worked out with your classes and clients, hands come down, you want to stretch their muscles statically for about 30 seconds, right? We're going to only do 2 quick stretches, the 2 most important that we've used for our research for this population, Quadratus lumborum and anterior tibialis. Let's take your left foot over the right. The more space between you put your feet, the easier it's going to be. Take your hands out to the side and reach over towards me, Bernadette. Right hand to your right hip. The right hand touches your leg. There you go, all the way like this. So you just reach over in this plane and then keeping your legs where they are, over to the other side. Beautiful, so your left hand is touching your body and you're pushing there and the knees are soft. Come back neutral, hands out to the side, hands come down. And now let's uncross the leg. Take the right leg over the left, hands out to the side, and let's do a little Quadratus lumborum stretching in this movement. Now on this side, hand to the hip, come back center. Of course, you with your classes and clients would hold each of these about 30 seconds, encouraging breathing. Hands out to the side and down, and we finish with a anterior tibialis stretch. So I'm going to invite you to come forward of your BOSU Balance Trainer. Wonderful. All the way to this clock, so maybe 1 or 2 o'clock. Left foot goes on top. And just hinge forward. Wonderful. So now you're feeling the stretch in the front of the lower left leg, yes?
Yes.
Wonderful. Hold that for about 30 seconds. Bring your feet together. And try with the other leg back. You can angle towards me a little bit. Good. So now you take your other foot back onto the surface and just push the foot forward as you flex that right knee down. You feel the front of your anterior tibialis stretch a little bit. Important muscles to work and stretch. Mobility and stability for this population, for reactive lower body complex, as well as the reason that sometimes we shuffle is because we don't have the efficiency for balance and coordination of the rib and hip relationship. Take your feet hip distance apart, take your arms overhead, look up, change your visual affect, raise your heels if you can, put your heels back down, take your hands forward, lower down, and turn and face me. Right hand to me, left hand to me. And that concludes our movement section of BOSU Mobility and Stability for the active aging. Thank you for joining Bernadette and me for BOSU Mobility and Stability for active aging. I hope you've enjoyed the skills and drills
And games.
That's right, and the games, as we put those into our active aging exerciser. We hope that you try all these games using the BOSU Balance Trainer and the Soft Fitness Ball so that you can see how fun fitness can be, bearing in mind that we don't stop playing these games because we're growing older, because we will start growing older the moment we stop playing. I hope you've seen Bernadette. What do you think? Is age important?
Only if you're talking about wine and cheese.
There you go, from Bernadette at BOSU to your ears, bearing in mind that adage that it's not important just the years in your life, as more important is the life in your years. Thanks for joining us.